So we go again, number 70, the Darkness Light Godcast. Welcome back. Joining me myself, Jim McFadyen, here in the Vortex Centre for Wellbeing. And this one, number 70, is going to be called Birthday Gifts. This is on the back of, my birthday was yesterday, so 13th of November. This is getting recorded on the 14th of November, 2025. This is, so I was 54 yesterday. And the recordings are a wee bit, not quite all over the place, but they're a wee bit, because I've been doing them for so long now, just week to week, and this is the first time I've been in front, so the way I'm recording them and the way they're coming out add into the fact that we started the Squadcast series again, which I'm going to talk a wee bit about that during this episode, thanks to Mark Burns, who came on and shared his story, and you know, incredible. That's going to be getting released this Sunday, so a couple of days that'll be coming out, so they're getting released, and then the catch-ups as well. The first 3 went out, and then my plan was to record more of those this week, and really just keep, I'm not going to say spew them out, but when they're coming through, and there's been a couple of times this week where I was almost ready to come in, and a couple of things leading up to my birthday, and the stuff that was coming up and the stuff that I'm dealing with and all that kind of, you know, the journey, the same as always, documenting and talking about where I'm at and how this work is going together and what's going on, and it just didn't happen. I get twice, I was really kind of up for it, and you know, and it's great when that inspiration is coming through, as this one has. This one come through this morning. This is Friday. I normally record them Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest, because I've got one in the bank, which is divine timing, I believe it is, and things like that happen because I never look back at them, or now I'm having to look back and see what's what, because it's a wee bit, it's not a sync, there's more being produced, and trying to keep it that way, you know, try to just keep it flowing as it's coming through, and when they get released in terms of, you know, the chronological and the time of year, it doesn't really matter that much, like going forward. As I've always said, it's just to record the information and document and journal, you know, this work and what we're doing, and you know, great time, my birthday, to again more of that, to what comes through in your birthday, and it just seems to almost like amplify or a greater focus. Certainly the contemplation side of things for me, and birthdays I think birthdays are fantastic. I really do. We have always celebrated birthdays. I find that it kind of gets me a wee bit sad when somebody, you know, you'll ever say, oh, it's just another day, or it doesn't matter to them, and I get that for some people. That's, you know, obviously that's the way that it is, and for whatever reason that they don't celebrate their birthdays. But for us and for me, us as a family, we've always celebrated them. It's a celebration of your life, you know. It's the day that you were born, the day that for whatever reason you were incarnated into this body in life, you know, you came into this world. So even just that, you know, the celebration of you know, life being born, like new life coming into the world, and then the celebration of obviously your life. You know, it's that is, or it should be significant, and again for many people, for whatever reasons that it isn't. You know, and that's something that absolutely should be changed, because, you know, obviously everybody, when you know what you know, and you understand like the divinity that we carry inside of us, then that should absolutely be celebrated. You know, the essence of you and your life and what it's all about, and the impact that you make and what you get from this life experience. So I believe they're important. I love celebrating other people's birthdays, maybe even more than I enjoy. I wouldn't really say I really enjoy celebrating my own, if I'm honest. I love them, and I love the occasion, and I love the time. It's always been a great time for kind of family for us. So we always took like days off work and time away from school. Like always, the four of us would just like fucking school's out and work's out. We were blessed, I suppose, or lucky, how you want to call it, that we had our own business. Both of us, and then the kids at school, it was just a case of taking them out, and the four of us, for all 4 of our birthdays, would be doing something on that day. We'd have time off, and only just recently, only the last couple of years since the 24 and 21 have been working, and that's not been able to happen. And it was definitely different yesterday. It was just the 2 of us, or the 3 of us, including the dog, just me and Jill. And I know that's absolutely, it sounds bananas, and it's very, very kind of sounds spoiled almost, but fuck it, that's the way we did it. We created it that way. It was brilliant. With so many memories. For us, obviously, the Waynesy's birthday when they're young. Safari Park was almost every single year for my boy growing up. Even up until, I can't think the last time we went, but he was a man, he was an adult, maybe 18, 19 the last time we went there. And it was just like a, tipping our hat to the past and taking him there when he was a baby. Mum and Dad were always there, so great memories. And really funny, yesterday my boy was working up in Perth and he went through the safari park. They were working in the safari park yesterday, so that was interesting, the timing of that. So even people, even thinking of the kind of the extent that I will go to, celebrate other people's birthdays, and even just in terms of sending them the best or sending them love, or when they're coming up in meditation, I think there's any excuse to really kind of to celebrate all of that, to celebrate you and your life, and I think it's a great thing, and it's a thing that I think everybody should do. Me, for my birthday, 54, it's always, it kind of seems to magnify, certainly they're always very intense, my birthdays. The day's always the same, it's not like I'm out getting wrecked and partying and I'm none of that kind of stuff. My birthday this year started the same way as almost every single day of my life does, and meditation started between 3:30 and 4 in the morning. And came down here, which all my meditations have been fairly recently over the last couple of months. I've switched it up a wee bit. Again, just changing it up and doing it, and because it's down here, obviously this work that takes place within this place, it's all the vortex that has been created, with everything that's going on in it. Then it's nice to be in it. It feels like it's really kind of a meditations. And particularly because we're doing the live meditations every morning again within the programme, within the community that's been led by John Maguire. That started all of November, so that's been going on every single day. So the ability to come down, because I'm up at that time, I'm really wanting to wake the wife and the Waynes up if I, you want to kind of sneak out and do your thing and get into the quiet, and everybody's sleeping. I wish I could still sleep, I really do. I still wish that I had that ability to get back to sleep, but for the last 28 years, the minute I wake up, and even before that, I didn't sleep that great. Always felt like I got enough sleep. But over the last 26, 27 years since it's been the meditation and the understanding of what goes on during the night and the significance of that time, and almost every single thing that I've ever done or come up with or came through me has came in that space, during the night, the middle of the night when it's complete silence. That quote, God's one only voice is silence, that's something I heard a long, long time ago, and it's so true in so many ways for me. The amount of stuff that's came through me, the stuff that I share and pass on, the stuff that I teach, almost all of it comes in quiet, either meditation or contemplation. So it started like that, and because the group is on, it's at 5:30 every single morning. John's leading it and holding the space. I was in there probably just before 4 on my birthday, and it was just wonderful, just having that amount of time. I had nothing on during the day except to be with my wife. My Waynes were going to work, so with all day there was no pressure, which I absolutely love. The freedom of the ability to have time to do what you've got to do that day. It's something I cherish, and something I've always tried to, especially with the spiritual work, and I've spoken about it on here before. When you wake up during the night and you've got 2-3 hours before you need to be anywhere, that's why waking up at 3, and the kids are maybe not getting up to, even when they're really young, if they're up during the night, you had gaps where they would be, back feeding again or sleeping, and then when they get a wee bit older, you maybe get to 6, 7 before they come in. So if you're a good kind of 2-3 hours before they were going to be up, then that was always, that freedom, that space, the ability to, there's no pressure on you. So that was great, the fact that I had all day. And, meditation this year has been very much, under Babaji, under the master of the Sajmark system, one of the divine masters within that system. Anybody that's been watching and following, knows my relationship, with all of that and what's been coming through me. And I normally sit, almost always now, with a meditation, I'll sit with one of his books, in my lap. And that's something I've never really done before. I always just went straight to the divine and, tapping into the field. And there'd be varying you'd have varying different levels of experience, and from enlightenment, like literal enlightenment experience, and all to like no much going on, and obviously then contemplation and all that kind of stuff, and all the goodness and the expansion that comes through. It doesn't need to be the same way, like divine bliss, enlightenment every single time. That's certainly not what meditation has been like for me. Tapping into the field and experience the divine, absolutely, but it comes through, and it manifests. The evidence manifests in so many different ways that you continue to learn as you go on this journey. It's fascinating how it comes through. But for me, the significance of like having the book and feeling the energy from the book. I remember a long time ago, it might have been Wayne Dyer, he was talking about how you could actually clone a sheep from a picture of a sheep. So they could whatever, how they did, and this was going back 25 years ago. And the whole thing about the Aborigines over in Australia, or the ancient peoples, the ancient tribes, how they don't like you taking photographs of them because they believe that it captures your spirit. It captures the kind of essence of you, captures a wee bit of your soul maybe. Again, I think that came through Wayne Dyer. So again, when there's something like me, you hold this book that I use, this one here, this one I'll do my morning meditations. The fact that these pictures on the front, and there's a couple of fantastic pictures inside of them, and it's almost like the eyes are the windows of the soul when you look into it. And again, there's certain books that when you carry, Hawkins would talk about, Dr. David Hawkins would talk about like calibrated levels of books and and the information that's in them. And Wayne Dyer used to joke often about how you don't need to read it, just carry it about with you. And that's certainly the case when I'm sitting, in my meditation, always on the floor on a kind of bolster match because of my back and my mechanics in my body, just to be able to, because it can be 2 or 3 hours I can be sitting. So to be comfortable, but when I get the book kind of sitting on my lap, and my hands are normally on top of it, certainly the presence and the energy that I can feel is very, very different from like just sitting in silence and tapping into the divine. Interestingly enough, last night I found on my birthday, so two meditations ago, 2 mornings ago, not this morning, yesterday morning, my birthday meditation, like just sitting with my mum. It was her mass card from our funeral, which I have in my office. It's kind of, I always have it there, and there's a wedding, our wedding pictures on it, and there's also a picture when she was maybe in her 60s. So I had both her picture and also Babaji, the book, and she was inside, the folder was inside the book, and I separated them, and I had my hand just on both of them, without even really, like, again, no rainbows, no unicorns, just like sitting in meditation, like giving thanks, my birthday morning, feeling really good. I was the first person into the group. I knew that was going to start to get busy. So by the time 4:30, probably 4:45, there's probably 8 or 9 people in the meditation before it officially kind of started at 5:30. So I was just sitting and being grateful, and getting into that state that I always seem to find on my birthdays, like really great for contemplating for me. Always very, very emotional. What's new? I'm very emotional just now. I met somebody in the supermarket this morning. And I've been emotional walking in. I was thinking about something else coming up. And again, all year I've not been like that. For probably the last couple of years, it's not really been like that. But recently it's been very emotional again. Like the tears are coming a lot. Tears of, name them. Tears of joy, tears of gratitude. Yesterday, absolutely. Compassion when you see other people that are suffering, and empathy, and then the horrors of the world and what's going on in the world. There's been a lot of tears recently. They come and go very, very quickly, very, very powerful. And I always say, don't suppress your emotions. You need to get them up and get them out and let them go. And great lessons in all of them. And yesterday morning was no different with my birthday. I think as you get older as well, you're, without getting fucking morbid, and like, yeah, it just changes. 40's different for 50, 50's different for 30. As you get older, and you're like 54 now, and hopefully I've got another 30 years still in there, 40 years, whatever it is, but it's like, you obviously as you get older, and things change, your perspective on things change, and especially the way the world is just now, my perspective's changing. The main mission and the goal has never changed. It's always been the same, to reconnect people back to the divine before it's too fucking late. Let's experience this divinity that we carry inside of us, and all get on the same side, and see if we can, get this world back to the way that it's meant to be. That's never really, it's never really changed, the intention with it, and sitting in the silence. Oh, that's a mistake. Excuse me. It's the first time that's ever happened. Aye, so the sitting with the pictures and then, you know, going in and taking stock and the emotions starting to come up and, you know, thinking about where you're at, you know, as I'm getting older and as I'm making my way through this journey, this life experience, and, you know, what's going on within myself, what's going on within, you know, my own life, my own journey, you know, what's going on within, you know, those that are on about me, the ones that I love the most, what's going on within my inner circle, what's going on within, you know, my work, the programme, because that's a community now, that's like its own family, it's like its own standalone family now, which I am very much part of. Every single day, of course I am. There's so much good coming through that, and so much expansion, and this kind of new wave that I'm now talking about that is definitely here. There's no question about it, it's here. There's so much goodness within all of that. You know, so like seeing where I'm at and checking in and right, okay, how's it going? That's pretty much, you know, it's continuously in my life. You know, you're always checking in to see like what direction you're heading in and seeing like what you're getting back from, you know, especially this work. Is it working? Is it not? You know, are you on the path? Are you not? Like how? What else can you do? Like how much do you get involved in it? How much do you know, like the give and take of even me, like giving yourself away and getting dragged like too deep into it and then pulling yourself out of it. It never ends. That whole thing, the journey never ever ends. And the thing for me and having that space and especially when the kind of focus is on it, when I can start to feel people coming into the group very, very quickly, and you know, just the awareness of in terms of what's round about me just now. This one is called Birthday Gifts because of all the really significant, profound realisations and gifts that I received, you know, from in so many different ways, with my mum and with Babaji to begin with. The connection through, again, she's been dead. She left this earth, she's been dead, she transitioned, whatever the fuck you want to call it. She's not here since 2020, you know, so her physical body has moved on. But, and again, more evidence of this last week, speaking with somebody who came to one of the classes who lost somebody last year, and not that I ever forget how difficult it is, but sometimes you go through a wee bit where you don't really see many people that are grieving, you know, or you get the experience of them opening up and telling you the challenges that they've faced because they're grieving. And absolutely that last week, you know, somebody really, really suffering and really the negative impact that it was having. And then me sitting in meditation, like the amount of like how grateful I felt, you know, to know that she's not here in terms of her physical body, and I would like nothing better than to go and grab my mum and take her somewhere for a cup of tea and you know, spend the day with her, you know, and just have a conversation with her, and that's a big thing that comes up during the birthday is, you know, the ones you miss, because of course you want your mammy there, like Jesus, like you on your birthday, of course, and it's I've got my wife and my weddings, and there's nothing could ever, you know, that becomes your own. But I think obviously more important when they're not there and you realise that they're not there, and you kind of miss them, obviously. And you know, so to be in meditation and to feel her presence and just to be with her, and to feel the love that she had for me, you know, and I always think that the mammy should be celebrated for the birthday. I know what Jill went through for both of our children, and great pregnancies, great births. Eve was actually born here at home. Sam was born in Wishaw General, it was just opened, and that was okay. She was in and out in probably 12 hours, no painkillers, like just, you know, just fucking incredible how she got through the whole thing. And me being privy to that, I was probably more affected than her, you know, as the wingman, the right hand man. So it's the whole thing, the whole, you know, it's my birthday, but having my mum, feeling the presence of my mum and thinking what she went through, and then really the perspective I got from her yesterday morning was like her, like me being like a baby, you know, so like going back to that time for whatever reason. It's not that I'm going on and trying to relive this stuff, but it came up, you know, and just feeling the love that she had for me when I was tiny, when I was a wee baby running about and a toddler, and mum had 2 boys in our family, me and my brother. So, and it was, you know, I think that's different than if there'd been a daughter. I think she would have been very different. I think my dad would have been very different as well. But, you know, she'd have really kind of soft side to her, my mum. You never really seen it that much. She was very balanced and never really spoke that much, if I'm honest, a real kind of peaceful warrior. But, you know, yesterday, because I was thinking of Jill and how much she loves our weans and how we loved our weans, but just like remembering, you know, there's loads of old photographs Jill put out from the kids being born and before they were here, like our first holidays together. That's something they've just started, and the girls have just started the last few birthdays. They grab, and great because some of them are like pre-digital, so you've actually got like physical copies. And just amazing watching like where we were, you know, in our journey, and you know, and the pictures of like us loving our wains, and then thinking back to my mum, how she obviously and absolutely definitely, my dad as well, had that for me, and getting to, you know, I suppose tap into that level of like unconditional love during the meditation. What a gift that was! I mean, just incredible. I mean, my mum who passed in 2020. And to feel, you know, the love, that connection, that bond, that's the evidence for me. That's real for me. That's that's something that's absolutely real. You know, the experience I had with her, you know, during that was probably half an hour, 45 minutes. And she comes and goes, and I can feel in meditation, obviously, when I get into spirit, and that's where, obviously, we're there, unless I've moved on to wherever. But you can always kind of feel, you can tap in because the field. And the nature of the field, then where else would they be? So if you can tap into the field and through the power of your awareness, then you can, I believe, you know, through my experience, you know, the things that have happened to me in my life with this work, that when you're tuning in, it's real. When you're tapping in, it's absolutely real. You know, I don't believe you can manufacture that, especially some of the things that come through, and for others as well, when other people see that as well. Again, more evidence that this, you know, the way this goes together, you know. So that was just such a really significant gift. Obviously, you know, seeing my mum, not seeing, like being with her, just feeling it, which was almost as good as going and picking her up somewhere and taking her for a cup of tea and a scone and just catching up with her. But you know, just wonderful. Just again, it's shite, as I said to that person last week that lost their mum. It's shite, but there's ways of, it's how you deal with it and how you adapt, and this is where this work, you know, the spiritual journey, and you know, going inside and getting back into spirit and understanding the journey of the soul, and you know, how death is just it's an illusion. It's an absolute illusion, you know, and those bonds are eternal. You know, those the mother and daughter, the mother and son, those sacred bonds. It's in my experience, they are absolutely eternal. That's what I continue. That's my truth. That's what I get with such, you know, these things that take place. So really blessed with that. Absolutely incredible. And allowing that love, you know, just feeling that love that she had for me, and that fed into probably the next gift. And the community is a big thing for me just now. It's since it started, there's been the first year and a half, almost 2 years of just putting it together. But I think this year it's like it's very different now. It's evolved very, very recently. The amount of people that are getting around about it, the amount of people that are teachers, the amount of just the goodness that's in the people that are on about this work just now, and especially I would call them like the pillars of the Vortex. That came through in Mark Burns. I'm going to do a catch up, one of the videos, but the kind of where we're at with the videos, and talk a wee bit about the other kind of just a bit later. And Mark Burns is an absolute pillar, you know, of the Vortex. John Maguire as well, you know, and I could name probably a dozen people just now, and I won't in case I miss anybody. But there's certain pillars that are coming in and are showing up with the desire to help and the desire to play, you know, the desire to get involved and to do what they can to, you know, help bring these tools, these techniques, you know, their experiences of what's happened in their life, what they've been through. It was great to hear Mark's take on that during the squadcast, when he mentioned one or two particular people within the programme, and them, you know, them being able to, because it's easy for me to talk about it. I can say what I see, and I really don't try to get caught up too much in that. You know, it's fantastic because it's just like, you know how it works. It comes through, and it's the way. You know, it's not my way, it's the way, and it's the way that seems to be that makes things better and allow miracles to unfold. And it's available to everybody. You know, I've just worked it out and put it together, and that's evolving all the time as well. It's getting quicker and quicker and easier because, you know, these people, these pillars, their intention, what they're bringing to it, you know, how they're getting around about it. You know, the support has been the biggest thing, and John hosting these meditations has been so significant. It's been huge. For the first time, I've been able to hand it over, somebody else who just like absolutely like, because anybody can do this, so the fact there's now people who are showing up and I've put the time in, and I've reached a certain level of consciousness and a certain like vibration in terms of, where they're calibrating that, so their intentions with this work, and in terms of, can it be about you? It's never about any of them, it's never about any of us, it's how we help the world and we help people reconnect and remember what we've reconnected to, and we now remember, and how, we're living our lives in terms of the relief that we're able to find, and the answers and the solutions and the healings and the literal fucking miracles, as Mark said. You're talking about literal miracles. Last week there was a one particular session where one person, hand in my heart, and this came through 3 other people that were in the room. It was like 3 confirmed miracles that they experienced inside an hour and a half. And then you go, right, so what's actually happening there? And what's happening is it's a process of switching off the stress, getting out of the head, and then reconnecting back into the heart and back into the soul, and feeling your way back into your emotions, and you're back into your heart, back into that divine essence that you carry inside of you. That's all that's really taking place. And yet, the byproduct and the results and what people get is it's incredible, and it happens so quick, and it happens almost every single time to different levels. But the truth is out there, it works, and the more and more people that are talking about it, the more and more people that are sharing their perspectives on it. That was a great thing about Mark talking about it. You get to, because a lot of the times I'm right in the middle of it and kind of leading it, and it's coming through you, and sometimes it's just like it's continuous and it's a lot, and it can be full on. So when you actually get to take even Mark's journey, since 2020 was the first time he sent me a video on the morning of a first time he was in an ice bath. And to think like who he's become over, and the steps to that journey as well were fascinating. The steps were incredible. Just watching how coming in the Friday nights in, and then getting on about it, and then the significant steps was the launch of the programme, the day to change your life, and then the ceremony retreat, and just getting his take it from his perspective, his side, how he sees it and how it's been playing out for him, right up to present day, what's going on with Boys Club and the community and the programme. And his desire, their desire, others' desires to to be part of it, and that's very, very different. I can't tell you how grateful that was. That gift has been there, and I've been aware of it, and I've been talking about it for quite a wee while this year. But sitting on my birthday, and just, I suppose when the meditation really kicked in, which was probably between 4:30 and 5:30, I don't know what the numbers were, but just feeling. Again, like when you sit in those spaces and you sit in your heart and you're all tuning in, and we've done it so many times now. But it was John Maguire, I believe, in Mark that started saying that, I'll see you in the field. In that field of consciousness, when you sit in meditation, like we're all one, and you can absolutely, it's palatable, the connections, and it's so many different levels. And so to be sitting in that on my birthday morning, with all the goodness coming through, and just feeling the way that the excitement for the day, which was awesome, and then feeling the ones that I sit beside, 4:30, 5 on a Wednesday morning, and it's every morning, and many times it's night time as well, the 9 o'clock prayer at night time, but sitting in that group with those people, and feeling the love that they had for me. Again, I spoke about this probably February time. It was my daughter's birthday. I was talking about this, where I was really aware of the love that when you allow that in, which I'd never done until this year. Didn't need it, I really didn't. Was never looking for it, and certainly didn't seek it or thought it was something that was ever missing. I've always been very self-assured of myself, and from I was young, I was always self-assured, and kind of didn't really need that. I don't really need the praise or even the encouragement. Most of the time, in fact, that embarrasses me. Especially the praise side. I don't like the praise that comes with it, especially with this work. It's like the way's the way, like day the way, and everyone's going to be fine. So I know that it's not me. It's just that it comes through, and sitting with them, sitting with that group, and being, loved, feeling that love coming in, feeling the kind of allowing myself to bring it in, allowing them, sitting, again, it's evolved a lot since February, so sitting again, as we've sat almost every day now in meditation, in that sacred space, to sit with them and feel what's on about me. So grateful for the goodness, so grateful for what we're doing within the Vortex, So grateful that more and more of them are showing up, and their time is coming to speak their truth and help, this light, which is almost too much at the minute as the sun starts to peek around the corner. But them helping and driving this forward, and feeling what they've got for this work, and on that occasion, what they have for me, the love that they had for me, which is what I've, and they've learned that, that's something that whenever I work with anybody, doesn't matter who it is, I'm sending love. The minute you sit down and you come into a room, and people will start to absolutely feel better because you're sending them love. So that's a real thing. So when it's on your birthday and you're sitting and you're surrounded by the community and all the history that we've got, and all just the magical experiences and the times together, and their miracles, their revelations, and the expansion that they've been on, and just the blessings that I've been able to be part of that. To realise where we're at, we're talking a lot just now about the next wave and where this is going, and it feels like there's a massive change on. A big thing for me yesterday was that this might be the last time I'm in this building. There could be a chance within this time next year. Again, taking stock and seeing where you're at and what's going on, I'm like, oh my God, this might be. My daughter was born in this house, was born upstairs, so I've been in here since I was probably 25, 26. So the amount of memories between here and the new house we built in the garden, and then we sold that 6-7 years ago. But this whole space and the contemplation of we might be moving on, for this might be the last time, so all that was coming up as well, which was fascinating. And then that feeds into this new wave that's coming through just now of so many people getting on about this, getting on about the Vortex, getting on about the mission and the work with the desire, to bring their bit to it, and help in the ways that they are being drawn to help. And my intention with that is to give everything that I'm doing, everything that I've learned, is to give it away. I've been blessed with some of the most incredible teachers, I really have. Personal development, spiritual development, you name them. Going back many, many thousand years, some of them. I've got the books of the information and the inspiration that's been received over the last nearly 3 decades. And then my spin on that, what I've learned, and I'm always say I'm a bridge builder. One of my early teachers taught me that, you're a bridge builder, you're here to build bridges for people. And it's always how quick can we get there? What's the shortcuts without robbing anybody of the experience? Without giving it to them. How can you set up the bridges so they can maybe find them a wee bit easier, or whatever allows that to take place. And for me to pass that on, to share what I've learned, and especially the spiritual stuff, that's all the other stuff, the breathing, and I suppose the intentional breath work, really significant as well. What we do with the breath, it's not just breathing, it's where you go with it and what your reasons are for doing it, and intentions, everything with it. But the program itself, and I suppose the entire the package, and what I've created and what we have created at this point, and where we're at with it, and people coming in, getting round about it and expanding upon that, so that we can do it. That was a huge gift. It really was. Just the knowing who stands beside me, knowing that we're doing it together, knowing that I don't really need to be on it as the way that I've been up until this point all the time. Why? Because there's pillars that are now standing beside me they're not taking the weight, but they're helping carry the load. We're doing it together. There's. And if there's enough of us, and this is why this wave has caught me, because I certainly wasn't feeling it. Anybody who's been following me knows the kind of year that I've had. It's not been easy, and it continues to be. Even the information that I'm privy to, we're working with people, and when I'm spending time with people, and how much you get drawn into it, and it's heavy going. It's no easy, So when you've got other people. This recent wave this swell that's building, that came from John Maguire and Aaron and Darren and Michael, and it's them talking about it, and them starting to get excited again, and their desire to keep pushing it forward. And then all of a sudden I can feel the wave, and it starts to and then I've very much over the last couple of weeks, it's definitely starting to catch me, and the things that are happening. This is where it's a wee bit, there's obviously confidentiality, and I've never ever broken confidentiality, in terms of this work. The only time I believe that if like the people who are coaches and are learning, and if there's how do you say this? If there's a common goal to share a story without being specific to a name, in terms of how they can learn from, and this is where our Monday nights are fantastic, because when the boys are in the room, the guys are in the room, and we're going through the room, and the first hour and a half really a chat, and because they've been doing it between some of them 6 years, but over the last couple of years, there's a real core group every single week, and you're talking and they're learning and we're learning together, in terms of what's happening, in terms of their journey. Whether they're on it, whether they're off it, if they're flying, whether they're dying, how things are unfolding for them, whether it's good, whether it's bad. We all know it goes together. It's like life comes from you, so do the fucking work, get on the programme, get up and get in the cold and do your breathe, whatever it takes to get a smile on your face, and then the benefits that come for that. The lessons that are learned, the most significant part of that night is them learning like how to navigate and how to, I suppose, make sense by watching the live coaching that takes place, and the feedback in terms of where you're getting tripped up, where you're maybe it's not working out for you, and that's fascinating to watch, just seeing them getting it, and because they learn how to become coaches, so sharing them learning in that way, and I suppose that sharing stories in some ways, but it would be great, this is where with the squadcast, the people coming on, I just want people to come on it and get comfortable enough they can actually tell their story. Mark was brilliant the other night. The joke is that Mark's very much like my wife Jill, just life's is just blessed, not been through the hardships of many people. Not that he said he's not been through anything, but there's many levels to that, and some of the names that Mark mentioned the other night and the stories he's been privy to. My dream is for them to come on and be themselves and tell their whole story, get to that point, which is no easy, and I watched it with Mark. It's been a long time coming, that one, because of, there's a lot goes into it, but then going on and speaking about these types of subjects, talking about spirituality and talking about meditation and God forbid, all that kind of stuff that we are talking about, it takes a certain, there's a certain timing within that journey till you get to a point where you're ready to like fess up and come out the closet and say, hey, here's where I'm at, everybody. Sorry, mum, sorry, dad, like fucking sorry. Like this is what I believe to be a truth. And if you're in the world and you've family, and it's no easy. That there's a timing for all of that. So to think that this is now like Mark went on and speaking about it. 2 hours we did, and we cut it short. It'll be the first of many, because he's a huge part of this, and even his relationship with John, and then how that feeds into different areas of where we're going forward. It's just incredible. But for me, it'd be great to get the soldiers that have been in the trenches, like some of the stories of people. And again, why would you want to come on and share that? Because with any great story, the adversity that people go through, the hardship, the pain, the suffering, the darkness, the decimation, the dark night of the soul, all that stuff, every great story there has ever been, it normally starts with that. It normally starts with a massive fall, and then, it's what happens after that. It's what you not what happens to you, it's what you do about it, isn't it? And it's how you then, through this work and through the choices that we make, how do you get beyond that? How do you navigate your way through life? And deal with the traumas and deal with the things that you've maybe been through, and then eventually, there's many bits to that, but getting to the point where, okay, so the possibility, like, and how do you heal that? How do you get beyond it? Where does that go? And then you see people that have been through these steps over, varying lengths of time. You see them flying and out the other side and really living it, like being in full alignment and being joyful, and being happy and just, like shining light into the world, and then you go, because the initial response for most is, it's all right for you, but then the whole story, their history, what it took for them to get to that point, and how they continue, the work they continue to do, which not many people see. That girl, lady, friend of mine and Jill's that I met in the supermarket earlier on, it's like, when she asked me how I was doing, and I was in one of the places, like, it's fucking hard. Life is really fucking difficult just now. And I opened up a wee tiny bit about things that are going on, but it's like, and at the time she was like, I could see her, she was like affected. It was like, it's almost like a sadness in her, because you don't want somebody that you care for, which she obviously did, and really grateful, to see them suffer. But at the same time, I'm like, no, but life's, that's just this journey that I'm on, this work that I'm doing, but life's fucking great. At the same time, my spiritual condition and the work that I'm doing internally, and my soul and my soul's journey, and all that expansion, all the work that I do with it, that's fantastic. The physical stuff is fucking difficult. This life is no easy for anybody just now, you know. So, and that's the significance of what we're doing here and what this is. It's how we can navigate our way through this insanity we're living just now. But you know, the madness that's coming up, I believe it's only going to get worse. The suppression and the removal of rights and all that, you just need to, it's only going one way. It's all about control. And being at the opposite end of that, you know, the desires to be in freedom and to be in ease, you know, and because that's what the soul yearns for, to be in that place of, you know, literal heaven and earth, which this could be. This planet could easily be that, but there's quite a few lunatics in the road of that at the minute, and all different levels of ignorance, and then, you know, intentional lunatics who are probably doing it by design to keep us, you know, those that are in the light, suppressed, and to keep down, you know, I believe, you know, the information and the stuff that should be available to us all, you know, basic stuff. Just the basics would be enough, like teaching Waynes how to breathe, teaching people how their nervous system works, teaching them how to like grow their own food and eat properly, and the significance of, you know, clean, like pure, real drinking water, where that needs to come from, and basic education, you know, basic inspiration, teaching people how to meditate, and what that actually is, you know, getting people how to get out their heads and reconnect back into their hearts. There's a massive shift on at the minute. There's a huge shift. It's we're heading for very much conflict, I do believe, in the next few years, as the world, you know, these regimes, and you know, think of even America just now. I saw a wee tiny bit of that this morning, and the circus is in free fall. It is. It's imploding on itself. It's insanity the way that it's going, and this is why this work is so important. You know, this is why you really need a spiritual practice. You really need the ability to switch off your nervous system and not just get caught up, you know, in that chronic, poisonous, never-ending, like just that reality that most people live in, because it makes you sick, and it's only going one way. It's getting worse and worse, you know. So this way of doing things, you know, the fact there's been more and more people drawn towards it, the fact that more and more people are talking about it, the fact that, you know, no matter how difficult it is, there are still people, you know, when they're doing this work, that are doing great. As I'm doing great. You know, life's really challenging just now. You know, there's so many things I would like to be better than there just now, but I'm doing great. You know, I'm in a good place. I'm very grateful. I had organic celery for my breakfast this morning, juice. I had organic bananas, like basic stuff I'm grateful for, you know, in this world just now. And focusing on the good stuff, you know, focusing on, you know, this new wave that's coming through, focusing on the solutions, focusing on the light, focusing on the community, that's one of my main focuses just now, like seeing, you know, talking about the gifts that are in that, the people that are in that, the people that are ready to fly, and to speak their truth and to tell their story, and the expansion that comes with that. You know, the amount of people, because when certain people speak, you know, there's people who will speak that they'll be heard by people that can't hear me, or don't want to hear me, or are put off by me for whatever reason. It doesn't matter, you know. So there needs to be all demographics and all different life experiences of, you know, people telling the same story. And that's what I get really excited about, you know, the amount of laddies I've got in the building trade, plasterers and brickies and, you know, roofers that are as hard as fucking nails, you know, and very similar to me. We weren't blessed with any kind of formal education, and a lot of them grew up in really kind of rough streets, and really difficult life experiences, and some of them you couldn't mark with a fucking sword, literally, you know, and they're on talking about God and meditation and how they've tried everything in this way of living and being, and then you hear the impact that has and the light that comes through it. And as I always say, to break the chains, you know, passing it on, you see that the dads that they're becoming and the mums that they're becoming, and they're not passing down the stuff that was gifted to them by their mums and dads, you know, and that's where you see who people are becoming, and you get to see that everything's perfect. Every single bit is perfect. Where we're at just now on this planet, you know, it's all perfect. It's in a time of change. It's in a massive shift is in the post at the minute, and I believe that this work is here to help people get through it, you know, so we can build it on the other side. You know, so exciting stuff, really grateful. Thanks for all the messages, thanks for everybody that I've not really been on social media much. I kind of get away from it, my birthday, get a break for everything. So thanks for the messages, thanks for all that kind of the love that people sent. I had many gifts, you know, in so many different levels, from cards to messages to private notes to phone calls, all sorts of good stuff, which was very much appreciated. Really because I realised, one of the biggest gifts was the people that stand beside me, the ones that are really in my life and the ones that I care for deeply, and they obviously care for me, and love is a word that is so overused. Genuine love, real genuine, like unconditional love for a lot of the people, because I've been around about them long enough now, and I've spent enough time with them in meditations and doing work with them, and the mask has came off for so many. So you can, when you really get to see somebody and a real, like the humble human being, which a lot of time with this work, people get stripped down. And it's fascinating. The other night, somebody was talking about it, how within the Vortex and the community, nobody ever talks about anything like that. It's not an official rule, but it probably should be. Like, there's never any talky work or it would never happen. It's all people that are on this path, like doing this work. We're talking about a spiritual condition and the challenges that are faced and trying to kind of quiet the mind or navigate your way through, life experiences, and just being aware of the amount of people, amount of goodness that stands beside me just now, and what we are doing together with this work. That was probably one of the biggest gifts, because it's exciting going forward when there's more than, there's many of us now, and we're really excited for next year and what's going to come for that. So it doesn't stop. We keep moving forward, older, maybe no wiser, and just we keep going leading up to Christmas. There's great time of year again to hibernation, contemplation. Going to be a lot of that going on for me, getting prepared for next year if we do decide to move. So there's a lot of work needing to be done, and then next year will be about building the new Vortex and building a new house if we get to that point, and then selling this and moving on. So much expansion coming, and being called very much towards it, and loving the work. Just absolutely so grateful for the work, especially the in-person stuff. The group settings. Again, I wish I could talk about it, but I can't. But last Friday night, 2 newbies coming in for the first time, and then 3 people from the programme, and just watching the relationship with that and what the programme members, one of the people within the class opened up a wee bit, and then just feeling the love that was coming through from programme members to a literal stranger they just met, and then feeling the impact and knowing how it goes, and knowing how it goes together. Just really, really grateful, really blessed by every single bit of it, So Yoga Barn, there's going to be another 2 between now and Christmas coming up. And, to access it, we've had one Friday night in. I probably won't, I don't think I've got another Friday between now and Christmas. So that's probably going to be the new year. I'm already thinking about A Day to Change Your Life for January time. A great way to start the year. And it was a year ago almost a year ago, we did the reconnection down at New Lanark, which was just absolutely brilliant. The free group, the workshops that I did every other Sunday, or every Sunday we did them. Was it the reconnection? I can't remember what I called it. The reconnection is the one that's going on just now, but the free events that we did down at New Lanark, and again another experience. Went for a takeaway pizza last week and bumped into somebody that was at one of the events, and that's a story for a podcast, what she said and how the situation and how I picked it up. She was basically there in that event, literally saved her life, she said, and just seeing how happy and joyful she was, and she said that to me, but I didn't quite, but it was noisy. I was just in to use the toilet and to make sure there was no cheese going on my vegan pizza, and I missed what she said, and it was a wee bit, it wasn't awkward, it was just a wee bit strange, and then with my brother John Maguire, he was telling what she said, and then I spoke to her and kind of apologised and realised what she'd said and the impact it had on her. Again, you don't know, you never know, what this, that was one free session where she came in and went through a very general breathwork session, and in her words, no mine, what she got for it and what it did for her, and then just seeing, like, just the beam of light, this wonderful human being. So really grateful for everybody that's around about it, really grateful for those that are that contribute to it. The Friday nights in, unfortunately, probably not between now and Christmas. But the community, the programme is where it's at. That's by invitation. If you're interested in it, I really kind of need to know you, whether it's through video or in person. That's the only real way that people get invited onto the programme. For many, many reasons, just to save everybody's time. And there's a certain bit you need to be at before you're before you're probably ready for it, and definitely going through an experience with me personally would be great, and that would be the best way to do it. Next one available is the yoga burn. That'll be a week today. So it's that like the 21st, and then there's going to be one, I think it's the 12th of December. And then the programme, we're live every single day. The information coming through this, I'm going to continue to batter out. Squadcast with Mark Burns, so excited for that. That's number 4. And then the catch-ups as well. Doing the catch-ups and doing more videos. I've got 2 or 3 things I've been thinking about and working on that I'm going to be doing some shorter videos just to keep throwing them out there. Keep finding out the catch-ups. And then really grateful for the Half God for November with Brother Maguire every single morning, the meditations. 5:30 every single morning, the group, John holding the space. I've been in almost every day, just loving it, just being able to tune in and, feel who sits beside us, So giving thanks for all the gifts, the awareness to see them, the ability to savour them and, really cherish them is the important thing. And then the byproduct of how good you feel when you're aware of what's on about you, and then like cherishing that and nourishing it and soaking every bit of it in. It's so wonderful and so important. So giving thanks, number 70, birthday gifts. Sending my best. Take it easy. God bless. Peace out. And bye for now.